Sawadee Ka. Hello and welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha. In this video, we're going to talk about anger and how this is causing you difficulties in your day-to-day life. If you haven't seen the previous video on craving, I suggest you go back and look at that mini lesson, because now we're going to move into anger and helping you to be able to understand how this is causing disharmony in your relationships. And by eliminating it, you'll experience harmonious relationships. Welcome. I'm pleased that you're here. As we talked in our last mini lesson, there's craving, desire, attachment, longing, yearning in the unenlightened mind. When the mind gets what it wants, it gets pleasant feelings. When the mind's not getting what it wants, it gets painful feelings. And one of those painful feelings that can arise is the anger, the hatred, the ill will. And this is where the mind becomes bitter and hostile and harsh towards other beings, or maybe even directing that towards yourself. So as long as these cravings, desires, attachments, wants, and expectations are in the mind can't be permanently peaceful and permanently joyful, which is the enlightened mental state. So when this anger is arising, the unenlightened mind attributes this to something external. And what it will typically do is it'll push people away, or it'll push a situation away. This is called aversion. And when you've been doing this with your friends or family, you can see that this doesn't actually solve the problem. Because if pushing away your friends or family solved the problem, you would be peaceful and joyful from that point forward. But you can see that your mind still has annoyment or frustration or agitation or some other discontent feelings. So pushing people away isn't going to solve the problem, because those people aren't causing you to be angry. It's actually your cravings, desires, attachments. If the mind's not pushing people or pushing a situation away, which is called aversion, then what it might be doing is being bitter and harsh and hostile through your intentions, your speech, and your actions. This is like an animal growling and roaring at another being, trying to fear that person into doing things your way, because the mind's trying to get its cravings fulfilled. It's trying to get things my way. And the mind thinks, if I can fear this person into doing things my way, then I'll get what I want. And now the mind thinks it is going to somehow experience this pleasure from that. But that's not lasting, because this person isn't going to do things your way permanently. So as long as you're being bitter and harsh and hostile to people, in some cases, they might buckle to that fear and do what you want them to do. But in other situations, they might just choose to leave out of your life because they're not interested in that harshness and bitterness and hostility. Or the third thing that you might do is put your expectations on people and try to control them and pressure them or force them to do things your way. And as long as you're doing that, people don't feel comfortable being around you, and they might choose to leave out of your life from that pressure of you trying to force or control them to do things your way. So as long as you're pushing people away, being bitter, harsh, and hostile with them, or putting your expectations on people, you can't live harmoniously with all beings, because you can't train 8 billion people in the world to do things your way. So as long as the mind has this anger, it's going to continue to experience broken relationship after broken relationship after broken relationship. So by you cleaning this up out of the mind, you can experience harmonious relationships where you're not pushing people away, you're not being bitter, harsh, and hostile to them, and you're not putting your expectations on people. And in some cases, people might actually be doing these kinds of things to you too. So by you cleaning this up within your own mind, you'll actually be able to experience much better relationships. Now let's talk about the solution for the anger. Well, of course, if you're working to eliminate craving, desire, attachment, which is the cause of the anger, by using the Eightfold Path and breathing mindfulness, meditation, and generosity, like we talked about in the last mini lesson, that's automatically going to reduce some of your anger, because you're eliminating the cause of your anger. But you also need to go in and work skillfully with this anger to be able to eliminate it. And that's where loving kindness meditation and practicing loving kindness in your intention, speech, and actions is going to come in to be able to help you transform your mind, essentially rewiring your mind to be more loving and kind. So there's a meditation that's different than breathing mindfulness meditation that is essentially going to rewire your mind to be more loving and kind. And I teach this in different courses, classes, and retreats. It's been recorded many times. You can see it on our YouTube channel of how to actually do this meditation and any of the others that I talk about, where you can rewire your mind to be loving and kind. It's like filling up your gas tank, going out into the world to be loving and kind. But it's not just the meditation that's going to transform your mind away from the anger, the hostility, and the bitterness, because you can't meditate your way to enlightenment. You're going to need to actually practice in your day-to-day life being loving and kind through your intentions, speech, and actions. And you'll learn how to do this through the Eightfold Path. That's the core central teaching that's going to guide you in cultivating right intention, right speech, right action, so that now you can practice in a way that's loving and kind. And as you put out love and kindness towards others, you'll see more and more that this will come back to you. This isn't the reason why you should be practicing loving kindness because you want something in return, but just understand that you're not going to clean up your life and clean up your relationships by changing other people. It's just not possible. That maybe you've even tried that. If you're trying to change other people, you'll never get to peace and joy that way. You need to be able to change your mind, and that's what's going to help you to get to peace and joy. By you being more loving and kind on a consistent long-term basis, this is what's going to produce the improved relationships. Because as long as you're putting out bitterness, harshness, and hostility, this is all just going to come back to you. So you can get to a point where you're being loving and kind with all those around you. And this is what's going to improve your relationships. But you're going to need to know the Eightfold Path, how to do loving kindness meditation, and to practice through your intention, speech, and actions, how to be loving and kind in your day-to-day life. Now, in terms of loving kindness meditation, it's helpful to do this in the morning. So that way, when you go outside, you can be loving and kind in all your interactions throughout your day. That doesn't mean you couldn't do loving kindness meditation at any other times during your day. It's just really helpful to go out into the world with loving kindness built up into your mind. So you might decide to look at one of our videos that are going to help you to learn how to practice loving kindness. And then, of course, practicing loving kindness through your intention, speech, and actions through the Eightfold Path is really important. So you need to be able to learn that as well. So thank you for joining. Perhaps we'll see you in the next video, which is all about ignorance or the unknowing of true reality.